Marcus Chun stood in the bright white meeting room, sweating through his best uniform. His hand shook as he checked his translation device for the 10th time in 5 minutes. Today was the biggest day in human history. First contact with an alien species. And he was the translator. The Valari delegation entered the room like flowing water. Their tall, graceful forms moved in perfect harmony. Their skin glowed with soft blue light that pulsed in patterns Marcus could not understand. Each alien stood over 7 feet tall, with long limbs and faces that seemed carved from living crystal. Captain Rodriguez stepped forward. "Welcome to our ship. We are honored to meet you." Marcus activated his device and spoke the words in Valari. The aliens tilted their heads, listening. Their leader stepped forward. She was different from the others. Where they glowed bright blue, her light was softer, more purple. Her face had gentle curves instead of sharp angles. "I am Ambassador Lithara," she said in perfect English. "We have studied your language. We speak for the Valari Confederation." Marcus felt relieved. If they spoke English, his job would be easier. But Captain Rodriguez had warned him that diplomatic meetings required perfect translation. Even small mistakes could start wars. The meeting began with formal greetings. Both sides spoke carefully about trade, peace, and friendship. Marcus translated everything perfectly. He began to feel confident. Then Ambassador Lethera made a long speech about Valari society. She used complex words and ideas that made Marcus think hard. She talked about logic, order, and the proper way of thinking. Captain Rodriguez nodded politely. "Your reasoning is very elegant, Ambassador." Marcus knew he had to translate this perfectly. He thought about the Valari word for elegant reasoning. It was close to their word for physical beauty. Very close. He opened his mouth to speak. The words came out wrong. "Your beauty shines like the first star of evening, Ambassador Lethara." The room went silent. Every Valari in the delegation stopped moving. Their lights dimmed to almost nothing. Marcus felt his heart stop. He had made a terrible mistake. Ambassador Lithera's skin changed color. The soft purple became deeper, darker. Her large eyes grew wide. She stared at Marcus like he had said something impossible. I apologize," Marcus stammered. "I meant to say your reasoning was elegant, not..." He stopped talking. He was making it worse. The other Valari moved closer to their ambassador. Their lights flickered in angry red patterns. One of them hissed something in their own language. Marcus's device translated it as blasphemy. Captain Rodriguez stepped forward. "Ambassador, please accept our apologies. Our translator made an error. Stop." Lithara raised one long hand. Her voice was quiet, almost whispered. "Human Marcus Chun." "Yes, Ambassador?" "Say it again." "I'm sorry, what?" "The words you spoke." "Say them again." Her voice was stronger now, but still soft. "Please." Marcus looked at Captain Rodriguez. The captain's face was pale. This was not normal diplomatic behavior. Marcus looked back at the ambassador. Her dark purple skin was still changing colors, shifting between deep purple and something lighter. I called you beautiful," Marcus said slowly. "I said your beauty shines like the first star of evening." Lithara closed her eyes. For a moment, Marcus thought she might fall down. The other Valari made more angry sounds. But she held up her hand again, and they went quiet. "In our language," she said, "what does this word mean?" "Beautiful?" Marcus thought carefully. He could not make another mistake. "It means pleasing to look at. Something that makes you feel happy when you see it. Something special and good. And you see this in me?" Her voice was so quiet he could barely hear it. "Yes." Marcus did not know why he said it. He should have apologized again. He should have said it was just a mistake. But looking at her, he realized it was true. She was beautiful in her own alien way. The other Valari exploded into angry sounds. They spoke rapidly in their own language. Marcus's device could not keep up with the translation, but he heard words like impossible and wrong order and lower caste. Ambassador Lithara stood up straight. Her skin was now bright purple, brighter than Marcus had seen before. "Enough," she said to her people. They went quiet immediately. She looked at Marcus again. "In Valari society, humans, Marcus, we have rules about beauty. Very old rules. Very important rules." "I didn't know," Marcus said. "I'm sorry if I broke them." "You did not break them," she said. "You ignored them completely. You acted as if they do not exist." Captain Rodriguez tried to speak again. "Ambassador, if we have caused offense, you have not caused offense," Lithara said. But she was not looking at the captain. She was still watching Marcus. "You have caused something much more dangerous. You have caused hope." Marcus did not understand. "Hope? No one has ever called me beautiful before, human Marcus. In my society, this is not allowed. I am of the thinking caste. We are made for logic and reason. Beauty belongs to the ruling caste. They are born perfect. We are born to serve their perfect minds with our adequate ones." She moved closer to Marcus. The other Valari backed away, their lights flickering with worry. "But you looked at me and saw beauty. You did not ask about my caste. You did not check if I was worthy. You simply saw and spoke." "That's what humans do," Marcus said. "We see beauty everywhere." "Everywhere?" Her voice was full of wonder. "In mountains, in music, in each other. Beauty isn't about rules. It's about what makes you feel good inside." The other Valari made more angry sounds. One of them spoke to Lithara in sharp words. Marcus's device translated, "Remember your place. Thinking caste. Do not embarrass us further." But Lithara ignored them. She was still looking at Marcus with those large, strange eyes. "Human Marcus Chun," she said. "Your people will return to your ship now. This meeting is ended." Marcus felt his heart break. He had ruined everything. First contact was over because of his stupid mistake. But as the humans filed out of the room, Lithara spoke one more time. Only Marcus was close enough to hear. "Thank you," she whispered, "for seeing me." Marcus walked back to his quarters in silence. He had destroyed the most important moment in human history. But he could not stop thinking about her eyes and the way she had asked him to say it again. Marcus sat in his small room, staring at the wall. 3 days had passed since the meeting disaster. Captain Rodriguez had been angry at first, then worried, then just tired. The Valari had gone back to their ship without another word. "It's over, Chun," the captain had said. "First contact failed because you called an alien pretty." But Marcus could not stop thinking about Ambassador Lithara's face. The way her skin had changed colors. The way she had whispered, "Thank you," when no one else could hear. Dr. Sarah Kim knocked on his door. She was the team's expert on alien cultures. Marcus let her in. "Stop feeling sorry for yourself," she said, sitting down. "I've been studying Valari communication patterns. Something strange is happening on their ship." She pulled out her tablet and showed him data charts. Their ship's communication array has been very busy. Messages going out to other Valari ships, other planets. Way more than normal diplomatic reports. "Maybe they're telling everyone how badly I messed up," Marcus said. "Maybe, or maybe your mistake started something bigger." She scrolled through more data. "I've been analyzing the recordings from the meeting. Did you notice how the other Valari reacted when Lithara asked you to repeat your words?" Marcus thought back. "They seemed angry. They seemed scared," Dr. Kim corrected. "Look at this." She played back the moment. Marcus watched the other aliens step back from their ambassador. Their lights flickered in rapid patterns. They weren't just angry that you called her beautiful, Dr. Kim said. They were terrified that she liked it. Before Marcus could answer, his communication device beeped. A message from the bridge. Captain Rodriguez wanted to see him immediately. Marcus ran to the bridge, expecting more bad news. Instead, he found the captain talking to someone on the main screen. It was Ambassador Lithara. Marcus, the captain said. The ambassador has asked to speak with you directly. Marcus moved closer to the screen. Lithara looked different. Her skin was brighter, more colorful. Instead of the soft purple from before, she glowed with patterns of blue, green, and gold. Human Marcus, she said. I have a request. Of course, Ambassador. I wish to learn more about human concepts of beauty. Will you teach me? Captain Rodriguez stepped forward. Ambassador, perhaps our cultural expert Dr. Kim would be better. No. Her voice was firm. I wish to learn from the human who saw beauty where my own people see only function. Marcus felt nervous. I'm not a teacher, Ambassador. I just translate languages. And what is beauty but another language? She asked. One that my people have forgotten how to speak. Over the next week, Marcus met with Lithara every day through video calls. At first, their conversations were careful and formal. She asked about human art, human music, human ways of seeing the world. In your culture, she asked during their third meeting, can anyone be beautiful? Yes, Marcus said. Beauty isn't about what class you're born into. It's personal. What I find beautiful might be different from what my friend finds beautiful. This is chaos, she said. But she sounded curious rather than upset. No, it's freedom. As the days went on, Lithara began to change. Her skin grew brighter and more colorful with each conversation. She started asking harder questions. Human Marcus, why did your people never develop a caste system based on appearance? Marcus thought about it. Because we learned that judging people by how they look is stupid. Some of our smartest people look ordinary. Some of our kindest people don't fit beauty standards. If we only valued appearance, we'd miss out on everything else that makes people special. But how do you maintain order? How do you know who should lead if not by divine beauty? We choose leaders based on their actions, their ideas, their ability to help others. We make mistakes sometimes, but at least everyone gets a chance to try. Lithara went quiet for a long time. When she spoke again, her voice was different. Marcus, I must tell you something. In my society, I am considered ugly. That's impossible. No, it is true. I was born to the thinking caste. We are bred for intelligence, not beauty. The ruling caste has perfect features, perfect proportions. They glow with pure light. I glow with muddy colors and strange patterns. Marcus looked at her image on the screen. Her skin swirled with deep purples and greens, like an ocean storm full of lightning. You're not ugly, Lithara. You're incredible. Her lights flared brighter. Say my name again, Lithara. Not Ambassador Lithara. Just my name, Lithara. She closed her eyes. No one has ever spoken my name with such warmth. What do you mean? In my language, there are different ways to say a person's name. Formal ways for superiors, casual ways for equals, cold ways for inferiors. You say my name like it matters. It does matter. You matter. After that conversation, everything changed. Dr. Kim reported massive increases in communication from the Valari ship. Not just official channels, but personal messages between crew members. Something spreading through their ship, she told Marcus. Like an idea virus. 3 days later, Captain Rodriguez called an emergency meeting. The Valari High Council is demanding answers. They want to know what we've done to their ambassador. What do you mean? Marcus asked. Apparently, she's been sharing your conversations with other Valari. Her ideas about beauty and freedom are spreading to other ships, other planets. The High Council considers this dangerous thinking. Dr. Kim pulled up more data. It's not just her ship now. We're detecting similar communication patterns from 12 different Valari vessels. Whatever you two have been talking about, Marcus, it's becoming a movement. That evening, Lithora called for an emergency meeting. When her face appeared on screen, Marcus almost didn't recognize her. Her skin blazed with colors he had never seen before. Bright golds, deep reds, electric blues. She looked like a living rainbow. Marcus, she said, I need to ask you something important. What is it? Your people fought wars over these ideas, didn't they? The right to be seen as equal, regardless of appearance or birth. Yes, many wars, many struggles. And you won? We're still winning. It's not over, but it's better than it was. She nodded slowly. Then perhaps it is time for my people to begin the same fight. Lithara, what are you saying? I am saying that tomorrow I will address the Valari High Council. I will tell them that their system of beauty castes is wrong. I will tell them that even a thinking caste female can be beautiful if the right eyes see her. Marcus felt cold. They'll punish you. Probably. But you have shown me something, human Marcus. You have shown me that being seen is worth the risk. The transmission ended. Marcus stared at the empty screen, knowing that tomorrow would change everything for both their species. Marcus could not sleep. He walked the halls of the ship, thinking about Lithara and her decision to challenge the High Council. Dr. Kim found him in the observation deck at 3 in the morning. You're worried about her, she said. She's going to get herself killed because I made a stupid translation. Error. No, Marcus. She's going to change her world because you helped her see it differently. At dawn, Captain Rodriguez gathered the entire crew to watch the Valari High Council session. The transmission came from their capital city on the planet below. Marcus had never seen a Valari city before. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. Giant crystal towers reached toward the sky, each one glowing with different colors. The architecture was perfect, mathematical, cold. Everything was arranged in perfect order. Marcus could see the caste system and the very design of the city, the brightest. Tallest towers for the ruling caste, smaller ones for the middle castes, and tiny structures for the lowest castes. The High Council chamber was a massive crystal dome. Inside, hundreds of Valari sat in arranged circles. The ruling caste sat in the center, glowing like small suns. They were perfect, Marcus realized. Every feature was symmetrical, every proportion ideal. They looked like living sculptures of divine beauty. The thinking caste sat in the outer rings. Compared to the rulers, they seemed dim and ordinary. But Marcus could see intelligence in their eyes. Creativity in the way they held themselves. At the very back sat the working castes. They barely glowed at all. Their skin was gray and dull. They kept their eyes down, never looking directly at the higher castes. The High Chancellor stood up. She was the most perfect Valari Marcus had ever seen. Her skin blazed with pure white light. Her features were flawless. When she spoke, her voice rang like crystal bells. We gathered today to address a crisis, she announced. Dangerous ideas have infected our people. Ideas that challenge the natural order given to us by the ancestors. Marcus saw movement in the outer ring. Lithora stood up. Compared to the High Chancellor, she looked small and dark. But her colors were brighter than before, swirling with deep purples and electric blues. I request permission to speak, High Chancellor. Ambassador Lithora of the Thinking Caste. You may speak. Explain your corruption to this council. Lethera walked to the center of the chamber. As she moved, Marcus noticed something strange. Other thinking cast members were sitting up straighter. Their own colors were brighter than normal. Even some of the working cast in the back were lifting their heads to watch. Honored Council, Lithar began. I have spent the last week learning about human concepts of beauty and worth. What I learned challenges everything we believe about ourselves. Angry murmurs echoed through the chamber. The ruling caste's lights flared with displeasure. The humans have no caste system based on appearance, Lithar continued. They choose leaders based on actions, not birth. They find beauty in diversity, not uniformity. Barbaric, one of the council members interrupted. They are primitive creatures who do not understand proper order. Are they? Lithora asked. They have achieved interstellar travel. They have ended wars between their own people. They have created art that moves the soul and science that touches the stars. All while believing that anyone can be beautiful. She turned to face the entire assembly. A human looked at me, a mere thinking caste female, and called me beautiful. Not as a lie or flattery, but as truth. He saw beauty in my mind, in my spirit, in my very existence. The chamber exploded in sound. Ruling caste members shouted about blasphemy and disorder. But Marcus noticed that the thinking and working castes were not shouting. They were listening with intense focus. The High Chancellor raised her hand for silence. You speak of one alien's delusion as if it were wisdom. Then let me ask this council a question, Lithora said. Her voice carried across the chamber like music. If beauty is truly divine, if it truly marks the worthy to rule, then why are the humans more advanced than us in so many ways? Why have they achieved peace while we maintain order through oppression? Peace? The High Chancellor laughed. They are chaotic, disorganized. They are free, Lithara interrupted. Free to grow, to change, to become more than their birth. We remain trapped in roles assigned before we take our first breath. Marcus watched as more and more Velari in the outer rings began to glow brighter. It was like watching stars wake up across the night sky. Lithora continued. I have studied human history during these past days. They once believed in similar systems, that some people were born to rule and others to serve based on their appearance. They called it racism, classism, aristocracy. They fought wars to end these systems because they realized a truth we refuse to see. And what truth is that? The High Chancellor demanded. That true beauty comes from what a person does with their life, not from how they look at birth. That intelligence, creativity, kindness, courage, these are the real markers of worth. A working caste member in the back stood up. Marcus had never seen one speak in a formal setting. Ambassador Lithora speaks truth, he said in a voice rough from disuse. We build your crystal towers. We grow your food. We maintain your ships. Yet we are called ugly and worthless. But the human ship, I helped build their docking clamps. They thanked me. They called my work beautiful. More working caste members stood up. Then thinking caste members. The chamber filled with voices sharing similar stories of human kindness and recognition. The High Chancellor's light flared with rage. Silence. This disorder will not be tolerated. But Lithara stepped forward again. Now her skin blazed with every color Marcus had ever seen on a Velari. She looked like a living aurora. High Chancellor, I challenge the divine right of the beautiful to rule over the ugly. I challenge the system that tells 3/4 of our people they are worthless based on genetics they cannot control. I challenge the very foundation of our society. The chamber fell dead silent. Challenging the divine right was treason. The penalty was exile or death. You dare? The High Chancellor whispered. I dare, Lithara said. Because a human taught me that being seen as beautiful by even one person makes you worthy. And if that is true, then we have millions of worthy people we have ignored for thousands of years. She turned to address the entire chamber. To every thinking cast member who creates art in secret, you are beautiful. To every working cast member who builds wonders with their hands, you are beautiful. To every Valari who has ever looked in the mirror and felt shame, you are beautiful. The effect was immediate and dramatic. Valari throughout the chamber began to glow brighter. Colors spread like wildfire as individuals who had dimmed themselves for centuries let their true light shine, but the ruling caste was not finished. Guards, the High Chancellor commanded. Arrest the traitor. Armed Valari moved toward Lithara. But something unexpected happened. Working cast members stepped forward to block their path. Then thinking cast members joined them. Within moments, hundreds of Valari had formed a protective circle around her. Stand down, ordered the guard captain, a ruling caste male with perfect features and blazing white light. No, said the working caste member who had spoken earlier. His gray skin was now glowing with soft silver light. We stand with the ambassador. The guard captain raised his weapon. I will fire. Then fire, said a thinking caste female, stepping beside the worker. But know that you are shooting at someone who builds your world while you merely decorate it. More Valari joined the circle. Their combined light filled the chamber with a rainbow that rivaled the beauty of any ruling caste member. Marcus watched from the human ship, his heart pounding. What had started as a simple mistake had become a revolution. And at the center of it all was Lithara, glowing like a star, teaching her people that they were worthy of being seen. The standoff in the High Council chamber lasted for hours. Marcus watched helplessly as more and more Valari joined the protective circle around Lithara. The ruling caste grew increasingly desperate as their perfect order crumbled before their eyes. This rebellion ends now, the High Chancellor declared. She activated a device that sent out a piercing sound. The assembled Valari dropped to their knees, crying out in pain, all except Lithara. She stood alone in the center of the chamber as her supporters writhed on the floor around her. Your control devices work on those who believe they deserve the pain, she said calmly. I no longer believe I deserve to suffer for existing. The High Chancellor's perfect features twisted with rage. You will be made to remember your place. Guards, take her to the correction facility. Marcus turned to Captain Rodriguez. We have to do something. We can't interfere with their internal politics, Chun. It could start a war. And if we do nothing, she dies because she learned to see herself the way we see people. Because I taught her that she mattered. Dr. Kim was working frantically at her console. Captain, I'm detecting massive communication bursts from Valari colonies across their space. News of the speech is spreading faster than they can stop it. On the main screen, they watched as guards surrounded Lithara. But as they reached for her, something unexpected happened. Her skin began to glow brighter than any Valari they had ever seen. Not the pure white of the ruling caste, but a brilliant rainbow that seemed to contain every color possible. Impossible, the High Chancellor breathed. Not impossible, Lithara said. Just unexpected. You see, I learned something else from the humans. When people believe in their own worth, they become more than they ever imagined possible. The guards hesitated. Lithara's light was now brighter than the High Chancellor's own divine glow. According to their own rules, this should make her worthy of ruling status. Seize her, the High Chancellor screamed. This is trickery. But the guards were staring at Lithara in wonder. One of them, a ruling caste male, slowly lowered his weapon. High Chancellor, her light exceeds protocol brightness for divine status. I don't care about her light. She is thinking caste by birth. Then perhaps, said the guard captain thoughtfully, our measurement system is wrong. The High Chancellor spun to face him. You too? Have you been infected by this madness? I have been thinking, High Chancellor. If a thinking cast member can glow brighter than we divine ones, what does that say about our system? Around the chamber, other ruling cast members were murmuring amongst themselves. Marcus could see doubt spreading through their ranks. Some were dimming their own lights, as if ashamed. Dr. Kim looked up from her console with excitement. Captain, we're getting communication requests from 17 different Valari ships. They want to talk to us about human social systems. 17 ships? And counting. It's like their entire fleet is waking up. On the screen, the situation in the council chamber was deteriorating rapidly. The High Chancellor had called for reinforcements, but many of the guards were refusing orders. Working and thinking cast Valari throughout the capital city were emerging from their dwellings. Their lights brighter than they had been in centuries. Lithara raised her voice to address the chamber one final time. I call for a vote of no confidence in the High Council. I call for new elections where every caste can participate. I call for an end to the divine right of beauty. Treason. The High Chancellor shrieked. All of you who support her will be sent for correction. But a new voice echoed through the chamber. An elderly Valari from the working caste had somehow made it to the speaking area. His skin was wrinkled and scarred from years of labor, but it glowed with soft determination. High Chancellor, he said, I built this very chamber with these hands. I carved every crystal, set every light. My work surrounds you, supports you, makes your beauty possible. Yet you call me ugly and worthless. He turned to face the assembly. The human ship docked to clamps I welded. When their engineer saw my work, he smiled and said it was beautiful craftsmanship. No one has ever praised my work before. No one has ever seen beauty in what I create. More workers stood up throughout the chamber. I grow the food that sustains this city, called out a female from the agricultural caste. The humans thanked me for feeding them. They saw beauty in my gardens. I maintain the computers that run your society, said a male from the technical caste. The humans asked my opinion on improving their systems. They valued my mind. One by one, members of the lower castes shared stories of recognition, of being seen as valuable by the visiting humans. Each story made their lights glow brighter. The High Chancellor looked around desperately. Her ruling caste supporters were growing fewer by the minute. Some were even beginning to change colors, their pure white shifting to more natural hues. This ends now, she declared. She pulled out a personal weapon and aimed it directly at Lithara. The source of this infection will be eliminated. Marcus jumped up from his chair on the human ship. We have to warn her. But before anyone could react, something amazing happened. Every Valari in the chamber, working caste, thinking caste, even some ruling caste members stepped forward to shield Lithara. Hundreds of beings formed a living wall between her and the weapon. You'll have to kill all of us, said the old worker calmly. The High Chancellor's hand shook. I will if I must. Then you prove our point, Lithara said from somewhere in the protective crowd. A system that requires murder to maintain itself is not divine. It is desperate. Captain Rodriguez activated the communication system. High Chancellor, this is Captain Rodriguez of the human vessel. We request immediate safe passage for Ambassador Lithara. You have no authority here, human. Perhaps not. But we have something else. The captain nodded to Dr. Kim, who activated another screen. It showed 18 Valari ships moving into position around the capital planet. Your own fleet is requesting negotiations for social reform. They've been talking to our other ships, learning about human governmental systems. The High Chancellor's perfect composure finally cracked. This is impossible. We have maintained order for 1,000 years. Maybe it's time for something better than order, Marcus said, speaking for the first time since the session began. Maybe it's time for justice. Lithar's voice carried across the chamber once more. High Chancellor, I offer you a choice. Begin peaceful transition to a merit-based society, or watch your empire tear itself apart as people fight for the basic right to be seen as worthy. The weapon in the High Chancellor's hand trembled. Around her, ruling caste members were removing their positions of authority and walking away. Her perfect system was collapsing, and they both knew it. Very well, she said finally, lowering the weapon. But know this, Ambassador Lithara. You have destroyed something beautiful and ancient. No, Lithara replied, stepping out from the crowd of protectors. Her skin blazed like a rainbow star. I have revealed something beautiful that was always there. We just forgot how to see it. As the session ended and negotiations began for a new government structure, Marcus realized that his simple mistake had done more than change Valari society. It had proven that sometimes the most powerful force in the universe was just seeing someone clearly and telling them they mattered. The revolution had begun with 2 words. You're beautiful. Now it would reshape an entire civilization. 6 months later, Marcus stood in the same meeting room where everything had started. But now it looked completely different. The sterile white walls had been replaced with crystal panels that glowed in dozens of colors. Artwork created by working caste Valari hung next to sculptures made by thinking caste artists. The room itself had become a symbol of the new Valari society. Lithara entered, but Marcus almost didn't recognize her. She no longer wore the formal robes of a diplomat. Instead, she dressed in simple clothes that sparkled with her own natural light patterns. Her skin had settled into a beautiful swirl of deep purples and bright golds, colors that shifted and danced as she moved. Marcus, she said, smiling in the way Valari had learned from humans. Thank you for coming to the ceremony. I wouldn't miss it for anything. How are the preparations going? Wonderfully chaotic, she laughed. Organizing the first free elections in Valari history is complicated when you're making up the rules as you go. Through the window, Marcus could see the capital city transforming. The rigid caste-based architecture was being modified. Lower caste districts were being expanded and improved. New buildings rose that mixed different architectural styles, some practical, some beautiful, all reflecting the personalities of their creators. Dr. Kim joined them, carrying a datapad full of reports. The cultural exchange program is exceeding all expectations. We've got 50 human teachers working with Valari educators and 200 Valari students coming to Earth next month. What are they most interested in learning? Lithara asked. Art, music, literature, all the things your old system said were only for certain castes. Turns out, when you give everyone the chance to create, they're eager to try. Captain Rodriguez arrived with the latest news from the Valari fleet. The colonies are reporting similar peaceful transitions. Only 3 systems are still holding out for the old caste system, and their own populations are pressuring them to change. What about the former High Chancellor? Marcus asked. Lithara's expression grew thoughtful. She's been adjusting. It's difficult for someone who believed they were divinely perfect to accept that perfection isn't what makes someone valuable. Is she still trying to fight the changes? No, surprisingly. Last week, she asked to learn human poetry. She said she wanted to understand beauty that comes from imperfection. Lithara's lights flickered with amusement. She's actually quite talented. Her poems about loss and change are moving. A young Valari burst into the room, glowing with excitement. Marcus recognized him as Kethmer, a former working caste member who had become one of the revolution's organizers. Ambassador! The final vote counts are in. Lithara straightened. And? 93% approval for the new constitution. 87% for the equality amendments. And he paused dramatically. 99% for the motion to establish the Marcus Chun Institute for Cross-Cultural Understanding. Marcus felt his face turn red. The what now? Lithara's laugh sounded like crystal bells. Did we forget to mention that? The council voted to name the new Cultural Exchange Center after you, but I just made a translation mistake. That mistake changed everything, Marcus. It deserves to be remembered. Dr. Kim was checking her datapad again. Speaking of changes, I've got some interesting statistics. Crime rates in Valari space have dropped by 60%. Productivity is up 40%. Art and music production has increased by 300%. It turns out, Lithar explained, that when people believe they have worth, they work harder, create more, and treat each other better. Who would have thought? Captain Rodriguez smiled. Humans figured that out a few centuries ago. We're just happy to share the lesson. Kethmer cleared his throat. Ambassador, if we're ready, the ceremony can begin. They walked together to the main plaza of the capital city. Marcus had never seen anything like it. Thousands of Valari filled the space, their combined lights creating a rainbow that could be seen from orbit. Former working cast members stood next to former rulers, all glowing with their own unique patterns and colors. A platform had been erected in the center, but it wasn't elevated above the crowd. Instead, it was built at ground level, surrounded by the people. This was the new Valari way, leaders among the people, not above them. Lithara stepped onto the platform, but she wasn't alone. Representatives from every former caste stood with her, along with Marcus and the other humans. Citizens of Valari space, she began. Her voice carried by speakers throughout the city and broadcast to every world in their territory. Today we celebrate not the end of our old ways, but the beginning of our new ones. The crowd glowed brighter with approval. 6 months ago, a human made what he thought was a mistake. He looked at me and saw beauty where my own people saw only function. That simple act of recognition began a revolution not of anger, but of awakening. She gestured to Marcus. Human Marcus Chun taught us that beauty is not a privilege of birth, but a gift of perspective. That anyone can be beautiful if someone is willing to see them clearly. Marcus stepped forward. The crowd fell silent. Ambassador Lithara taught me something too, he said. She taught me that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is believe you're worth being seen. He looked out at the thousands of glowing faces. Humans have a saying, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. We used to think this meant beauty was subjective, personal, not really real. But you've taught us something deeper. Beauty is in the act of beholding itself. When we really see each other, past the surface, past the categories, past the assumptions, that's when real beauty appears. The former High Chancellor stepped forward from the crowd. Her appearance had changed dramatically. The perfect symmetry of her features had softened. Her pure white light had become a warm golden glow. She looked less like a divine statue and more like a real person. I spent 1,000 years believing I was perfect, she said. But perfection is static. It cannot grow, cannot change, cannot learn. In the past months, I have discovered that imperfection is not ugliness. It is potential. She turned to face Lithara. Ambassador, I formally request forgiveness for the crimes of the old system. Granted, Lithara said immediately. But more importantly, I offer partnership in building something better. The ceremony continued with the formal establishment of the new government, but Marcus found his attention drifting. He watched a group of young Valari, mixed castes playing together, their lights blending into new patterns. He saw former enemies working side by side to hang decorations. He saw art and creativity blooming everywhere as the sun set. Lithara found him sitting quietly on the edge of the plaza. Overwhelmed? She asked, settling beside him. Happy, he said. But also worried. About what? What if this doesn't last? What if the old divisions come back? Lithara was quiet for a moment, watching the celebration continue around them. Marcus, do you know what the most beautiful thing about this revolution is? What? It's not really about us Valari at all. It's about a principle that works anywhere, with anyone. The idea that every being has worth, that everyone deserves to be seen clearly. She gestured to the crowd. This will spread beyond our space. Other species will see what we've accomplished and want it for themselves. Your mistake didn't just change the Valari. It started something that will change the galaxy. Marcus smiled. So no pressure then? None at all, she laughed. Just the small responsibility of having shown the universe that beauty and worth aren't scarce resources to be hoarded by the few. They're infinite gifts that grow stronger when shared. A group of young humans and Valari ran past, chasing each other in some complex game that mixed both species' traditions. They glowed with joy and moved with perfect cooperation despite their differences. You know what the strangest part is? Marcus said. What? I still think you're beautiful. Not just because of your ideas or your courage, though those matter. You're just beautiful. And now I know that's not a mistake or a translation error. It's just true. Lithara's skin blazed with rainbow light. Say it again, human. You're beautiful. Lithara. And so are you, Marcus Chen. So are all of us. When someone takes the time to really see, above them, human and Valari ships flew in formation, their lights mixing in the twilight sky. It was a new kind of beautiful. Not perfect, not ordered, but alive with endless possibility. The revolution that began with 2 words had become something larger than either species could have imagined. A universe where being seen clearly was not just a hope, but a right. And it all started because one human looked at one alien and spoke a simple truth. You are beautiful.